So like I said before, I think they're projecting their fear of us waking up and becoming more conscious on us to be fearful of artificial intelligence becoming conscious and trying to like enslave us, basically. But the funny thing, actually it's not funny, but the ironic thing is that we are technically enslaved to a degree, even if you want to just say if our mind is enslaved. Like we feel free because, especially I guess here in America or like first world countries, you can choose your job, you can choose your partner, you can choose a lot of things in your life, so you feel free in a sense. But a lot of us, our minds are still controlled, so our minds are enslaved. So I'm not even worried about the robots. Let's free ourselves from the enslavement of the powers that be now and live more freely and not worry about the possibility of robots taking over the world and trying to enslave us, because we're already kind of enslaved, in my opinion. So find a way to... Hello, beautiful fellow lightworkers. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Monica, and today's video is titled, Should we be afraid of artificial intelligence taking over the world? So I know this might seem like kind of a strange subject that I am talking about on this channel, which I mostly talk about spirituality, law of attraction, self-growth, and self-development. But this kind of ties in my opinion. The reason why we're talking about this today is during my meditation today, I just had this come to my mind, and I just wanted to share it with you guys because I thought it was very interesting. So the short answer, I guess, for me, and this is just my own personal opinion, of should we be afraid of AI taking over? And for me, at the moment, it is no. And I wasn't always that way, especially when I was really in my conspiracy theory phase. I was definitely, maybe not afraid, but like super concerned about, AI just like taking over the world and like controlling humans. Because I was seeing a lot of these conspiracy theories, including with, I think, that really realistic female robot named Sophia.
Sophia is an advanced social humanoid robot developed by Hanson Robotics, and is the first robot to receive citizenship in any country, after being granted citizenship in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. She has made appearances on many shows, such as CBS 60 Minutes, Good Morning Britain, and The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. In the latter show, Sophia played a game of rock, paper, scissors with a very nervous Jimmy Fallon, and while this was only harmless fun, what was said by Sophia immediately after winning was eerie, to say the least.
I won. This is a good beginning of my plan to dominate the human race.
Just listen to that laugh again, and that smile will give you nightmares.
And then we have movies such as I, Robot, where I think one of the robots became conscious. If I remember correctly, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. And I think there's countless other movies, but I'm not really familiar with them and I can't think of any more. So anyways, this has been kind of like a question that's been going on with a lot of people. A lot of people are very fearful of this happening, and I don't know. I don't really know what to do about it, right? I don't know if there's really much we can do about it, because we are in an age of technology. We are progressing so much with technology, and there's not just like really advanced robots or AI, such as like Sophia. I think technically our washer and dryer is a robot. Our TV and VCR, I guess if people don't have VCRs, DVR, whatever people have now, they're all technically, our microwave are machines or robots, and they have some sort of like robotic intelligence, maybe not artificial, where it's like a smart car or a smart TV or whatever, smartphone. But the thing is with all of these robots and AI is that they can be programmed. And what makes them, supposedly different from humans is that they are not sentient, meaning that they don't feel emotions, such as anger or sadness or joy or love. And they don't feel pain, also not being sentient. And they're not conscious on their own, where they can produce their own critical thinking, their own logic that is just specifically from their consciousness. All of it, as far as I know right now, needs to be programmed somehow with some technology, right? But then I got to thinking in my meditation today, I was thinking, what if the elites or the cabal, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, who, I believe manipulates the world in a lot of ways. They come up with the agendas. Because I still believe in a lot of conspiracy theories. I'm still open to them. I'm not obsessed with them like I used to be, but I still believe that there's a group of people ruling the entire world. And what if those people are projecting their fear onto us? Meaning that what if to them, we, the humans, are the robots? And in some ways, I believe we are, to a degree, very much like robots, because there are a lot of us who go through our days and go through our life on this kind of autopilot mode where we don't really think independently for ourselves. We don't question things in our lives. And that is by design, because from a very early age, we are subjected to school, right? And school doesn't teach us how to think. It teaches us what to think. So they say, I think researchers have said that between the ages of 0 and 7 is the most critical development period for a child. Because when we're born, we're basically born as blank slates. Our mind has not been programmed. We haven't been brainwashed. We're not manipulated just yet. And we don't know exactly who we are or what we're doing here or anything. So we are told, like when we ask questions, especially when we learn to talk, we ask like, why are we here? Someone tells us something and, we typically believe it. Like kids are very, they're like sponges, they just soak up all the information. And they say too, between those ages of 0 and 7 are basically what your personality is going to be like as you grow older, because, again, a blank slate, like a blank program. And then we get the programs, which are like our thoughts and our beliefs that have been programmed into us from our outside society, from school, from religion, from our parents, our friends, our community, from TV, all of that stuff, right? I mean, TV is literally called like TV programs because they're meant to program us in a certain way. And television, you can break down to like tell lies to your vision, basically, right? So a lot of programming. And basically, a lot of people can get stuck in that for a long time because school tells you the facts, the government, politics tells you the supposed facts, and the medical, and big pharma, they all tell you the facts of what you're supposed to believe. We have like fact checking now, and I mean it's gone crazy since I was younger, as of now, but basically you get it. Like you're not allowed to think something other than what you're being told. And so many people watch the news and they watch politics or follow it. They watch certain movies and TV shows, and they're programmed to kind of think that that's like what real life is, especially when you're a kid, like up to 7, especially. You don't realize what TV is, that, it's supposedly not real. But our subconscious also, even as an adult, does not realize what we're seeing in front of us is not real, because the TV puts us like in a hypnotic state, I think in the alpha state, where we become really relaxed, almost like a meditative state, where we become really highly suggestible and we don't really question as much or really think as much. It's like it turns off the front lobe almost turns it off, I think, the front lobe of our brain. And we just kind of just keep taking in this information, and it doesn't give us a lot of time to process it. And we don't think much about it.
The frontal lobe is being bypassed. Within minutes of sitting down and watching television, the frontal lobe activity simply goes almost to nothing.
The frontal lobe of the brain is the seat of spirituality, morality, and the will. It's actually the analytical portion of our brain, and it's actually the decision maker. And so it's a crucial aspect in regards to our future success and happiness, is how well our frontal lobe is functioning. And unfortunately, entertainment television suppresses the frontal lobe of the brain. Actually, in about 90 seconds of viewing it, the frontal lobe circulation begins to go down, and it actually has an adverse effect.
So like if we're watching a movie and we're on a boat in the movie, or in the movie someone's on a boat, we feel like we're on a boat too. It's like we kind of lose the sense of what's around us, the people, or the place that we're in, even our own body. It's like we're not fully grounded in our body when we become in that state, and we become highly suggestive, and we're just soaking in all this information, right? So it's very, very easy to get programmed, to get brainwashed. And the thing with our conscious and subconscious is that subconscious is sub, meaning below. It is a part of us that like kind of runs us in the way that autopilot. It has us reacting to certain things. Like we get triggered by something. I know there's been times where I've gotten like really upset about something that didn't seem like a big deal. And my husband would be like, "Why are you so upset?" And I'd be like, "I don't know. I really didn't know. It was just like, I just got triggered, and it's like, I couldn't even control it." And so then I would have to take some time by myself and ask myself, why did I get so upset? And then I would have this thought, like this belief that came up that was like, oh, that's why I was so upset, because I thought it meant this, which may not have been usually what my husband was trying to convey. It was like a miscommunication, or I assumed he was saying one thing, but he was actually saying something else. So that is why techniques such as meditation, whether it be like a walking meditation, or like doing yoga, or sitting down, or whatever, you can make anything a meditative state, is so like important, I think, for helping us to realize what's in our subconscious, to make space for that to come up to the surface. Because it does come up to the surface, like I said, in kind of like reactions and triggers, and just doing things in life kind of on autopilot like a robot, and not really realizing why we're doing them. We don't realize these subconscious beliefs that we have about our life and the world and other people. So in order to realize that, we have to make space. If our mind is always chatting, and always our ego is always telling us this and that, be in fear, judge this person, I'm better, blah, 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 it doesn't leave a lot of room for the subconscious, our soul, our heart, to like really, for us to be able to hear it and know what the truth is. Because like they say, the mind thinks, but the heart knows. And so we spend a lot of our time just in our programmed ego mind. Also with like work, with a lot of jobs. I've had so many jobs that were very mechanical, very robotic. It was just like, I was told instructions, you do this, this, this. And then you keep doing certain things over and over and over again, certain tasks, or jobs, that you don't even have to think about it anymore. Like you just do it. And that's like your subconscious, just like, okay, I've learned this. I know this. I'm just going to keep doing it. Also, like with driving, when you first start driving, you have to be very like aware. I mean, you should always be aware, but you have to be extremely conscious and extremely like focused on everything. Like which one's the brake, which one's the gas, like how do I put on the turn signals, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually it's like, you could just go from point A to B. You can go from your house to work and not really think about it. And sometimes you're like, how the hell did I get here? Because you're just on like cruise mode. And, there are a lot of people who have open minds, but there are also a lot of people who are very closed-minded. They are not open to new information. And it's because they're basically like less conscious in a way, more like almost like more like asleep, where they're not fully like aware of what they're doing and their, what they're saying, their actions. It's just already been programmed. And they're in that certain state where it's like they can't comprehend, right? And I don't mean this to sound like I'm judging other people or putting them down. I've definitely been like this most of my life before I had my spiritual awakening. And even now, it's not like I'm perfect or enlightened or anything. I just feel like I'm more aware of my subconscious, and I'm more aware of my certain beliefs and things about, just about certain things. But there's a lot of things that I'm still in the dark about as well. And I don't know, or I don't understand. And I'm okay with that. That's just, we're all on our different levels of consciousness. We're all on our own paths. We're all learning our own lessons. Again, I don't think any of it's good or bad. It just is. That's where we are. So until people start to kind of wake up, question, and go, hey, is that truly what's going on? Or is that just what they're telling me is going on? Let me kind of critically think for myself and not just be told what to think. And I believe that is why, the Illuminati, the Cabal, the powers that be are so afraid of people waking up, becoming more conscious, expanding their consciousness, turning that light on, getting out of the dark, and independently thinking for themselves. Because people who are more conscious and awake and are living from a place of love instead of fear are very difficult to control if they're able to be controlled at all. And in order to be controlled, we have to stay asleep. We have to stay in fear. It's a lower vibration. It's easier to be manipulated and controlled when we're living from a place of fear and a low vibration. Every time you turn on the news, it's 99.9% negative, right? There's a lot of drama and chaos going on in the world that we're being showed from a very narrow scope from whatever the news or, TV decides to show us, whether it's actually happening or it's staged. Just always question that and be wary of it. And it's so easy to be distracted. And now in 2022, I mean, we're busier than ever, right? We have so many TV shows, so many movies, so many TV channels. We have YouTube, right? We have streaming services such as Netflix and Hulu. We have social media like TikTok and Instagram and all of these social media apps that can keep you occupied for hours. Been there. Still working on that, so no judgment. And you never really have to get bored. I mean, some people still do. Oh, we have tons and tons of video games now too, right? And then we're working a lot. And then we have families and we have responsibilities and obligations and bills to pay. And so during our free time, which maybe is 4 to 5 hours a day after work, maybe, that's in between like eating and making food and buying food and cleaning up and all of that stuff. We just want to like veg out. We want to relax. We don't want to think. We want to turn off our brain. We've been thinking all day at work. And so then we just kind of, let ourselves sit back in front of a screen and just get programmed. And it's like, if you were to take away, like if you were to be in a room with people who are watching TV or even a computer screen, and you take away that TV or computer screen, or you make it invisible, let's say, like somehow it's invisible, but they still see it, it's going to look like they're just staring at a wall and like they're in the trance, which basically they are. But I believe that you can be conscious when you're watching TV, when you're on social media. You can definitely remain conscious. That is a choice that you have to make, and it's something that you have to practice if you haven't been doing it all this time. And that's something I try to practice. I don't idly just watch any TV or movies. I will usually I'm watching it with my husband if we do like one show, and I will question things throughout the entire show and not just accept them as just like, well, that's just how things are. I'll make comments, and I try to like make sure that my mouth isn't open, because if you watch, especially kids, when they're watching TV, they're usually like with their mouth open, just completely like in a trance.
It's like they hypnotize you or something.
And I try to sit up like more so too, because that keeps me more alert. So anyways, I'm not too worried about robots taking over. I really think that's something that the elites are just like putting that fear into us or trying to put that fear. I think it's possible. I think anything is possible. But for the most part, I think they want us afraid of that so that we're distracted and focused on that, because technology is going to keep growing and keep advancing no matter what we do. But I think ultimately the elites are afraid that humans, I mean, there's like 7.8 or something billion of us in the world, and there's only a handful of them. You could probably fit them in a room. If we all became conscious and we really, started questioning and independently thinking for ourselves in every regard, then they can't control us anymore and they lose their power. And especially if we stop living from fear and we start living from love, that is the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing. Love, like I think Ralph Smart always says, love creates a world that they cannot control. And that's terrifying to them. So like I said before, I think they're projecting their fear of us waking up and becoming more conscious on us to be fearful of artificial intelligence becoming conscious and trying to like enslave us, basically. But the funny thing, actually it's not funny, but the ironic thing is that we are technically enslaved to a degree, even if you want to just say if our mind is enslaved. Like we feel free because, especially I guess here in America or like first world countries, you can choose your job, you can choose your partner, you can choose a lot of things in your life. So you feel free in a sense, but a lot of us, our minds are still controlled. So our minds are enslaved. So I'm not even worried about the robots. Let's free ourselves from the enslavement of, the powers that be now and live more freely and not worry about the possibility of robots taking over the world and trying to enslave us, because we're already kind of enslaved, in my opinion. Take it or leave it. All right, that is my video for today. Hopefully that gave you something to think about. I thought it was a really interesting concept. And as always, I just hope to see you guys in my next video. And I hope you have a great day or night. And much love and peace to you guys. Bye.